Good morning. Hello, happy summer. Oh boy, is it like happy oh boy summer.
Morning.
Good down here in Houston, Texas. Hello, Gail. It's Wednesday, the 27th of July of aught and 22. I'm your guy, Glen Henderson, and this is, as we can witness from our attendees right here, this is the John Lavenia Success Mastermind. Great to see you. I had to tell you, just as a small editorial comment as we begin, I have seen some really, really interesting changes in my own personal life and lifestyle and business as a result, as a direct result, I believe, of getting involved with our good buddy John here in the mastermind. I may explain that at some point if my own personal mental flights and fancy bring me back to that topic at some point today. Good to see you, John, my man. John, and Daisy is here. Excellent, listening in as she does her bit to contribute to the national economy. Nice to see you, Daisy. And Gail is here having a sip of looks like
A protein shake.
nice, some variation of chocolate, I'm guessing. Uh,
Chocolate, and I added espresso to it.
you want to hear something really, really strange? This is going to freak some people out. I, as a personal matter of personal preference, I don't actually like chocolate.
Hmm.
What?
Yeah, what?
I know. It's like, what's wrong with you, man? So, no, that's not what you're thinking, Gail. I know you, see. I know that's not what you're thinking. Here's what you're thinking. You're thinking, what, Glenn? You don't like chocolate? Cool, more for me. That's what you're thinking.
Yeah.
All right. So we are getting rolling here. And as I was saying, yes, my flights of fancy have brought me back to the topic very briefly. And I know how much John absolutely loves tongue baths. So I'll keep this short, as is reasonable. One of the things that has happened by my getting involved here and taking part in the activities of the mastermind over the past year and change is that I've somewhat heightened my own personal responsibility. You know, it's interesting what you can accomplish when you set uh, personal expectations upon yourself. I'm making this sound much more complicated than it is. I got someplace I'm supposed to be every Wednesday morning, hanging out here, moderating, running my mouth for a few minutes, chatting with you all, and it has brought a small measure of structure to a part of my life that was pretty much at loose ends in some ways. You know, so well, geez, Wednesday morning. Oh, what am I going to do today? And then you can while away many hours sitting around thinking about what to do. Whereas I chose a year and change ago to place myself in the weekly presence of a gentleman who refers to himself and who referred to himself not 5 minutes ago as a doer, a doer of things, a doer of deeds, an accomplisher of things. And so it has been enormously refreshing and energizing for my Wednesday mornings to be, at least for one morning a week, a doer of things, an accomplisher of stuff. And inspiration can come from any variety of sources, and I've been very fortunate to draw inspiration, at least in that one area, from our good friend John and from our associations here in the mastermind. Now, there you go. Here endeth the tongue bath. Now, down to business. I have been thinking the last couple of days, in fact, some time now, about this whole deal, in fact, of doingness. John, I know we like to talk about knowingness at various points in our conversations, and doingness, which I believe is an integral part of the strategies involved and described in the book we're currently reviewing on our Monday Night Book Club, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living, by our good friend Dale Carnegie. Do stuff. Action almost always cures fear and worry. It's hard to make much time for fear and worry if I'm in motion, if I'm in action. So there's the thing. And there have been two thoughts that have been rolling around in my head, particularly the last couple of weeks as I've now entered in earnest into preparations for the second book. Oh, yes. So you all know the first book, 5 seconds of shameless self-promotion. There you go. You all know the first book, and I'm now working on the second book. As you may remember, pardon me. I got to tell you, I'm so glad that God created energy shots. Yeah. Anyway, the first book was conceived over many years, conceived and incubated over many, many years of my life, and it was given birth over a 4-day period in October of 2020. And the results have been quite remarkable. As a matter of fact, since the release of that book, I have been I've been invited to participate in and host a weekly television show, business TV show. I have been more recently invited to participate in an Instagram live conversation and a live panel discussion at the upcoming Star Trek convention in Las Vegas. I have been personally introduced, and begun to develop acquaintances, connections, and in some cases, dare I say, friendships with a number of Star Trek celebrities who, these conversations and connections have given me some entree into new opportunities. And it's all because I took the 4 days to write the darn thing. Finally, to actually do something about the thoughts that have been bouncing around in my head for literally decades. Did something, accomplished a thing. I cannot tell you how proud I am to have accomplished a thing. There is no feeling, and John can testify, there is no feeling in the world. What's the saying, John? John, let's do a quick spelling test. All right, you ready? This is like our own personal Scripps Howard spelling bee. John, how do you spell perfect?
No, don't ask me that, because it's P-E-R-F-E-C. I would say imperfect and done beats perfect and not done.
Yes.
Going with all this, but I will say, since you got me the microphone, that production is the basis of morale.
I like it.
Right. So I'm not surprised at all. Well done. I'm writing a friggin' book. One of the best things I ever did. Right. Thought about it for 20 years, then I friggin' did it.
Yep, exactly so. And since John has very demurely shied away from the, if I may speak in his place. How do you spell perfect? D-O-N-E. So this book is done, and now we're about to get the second book done. In connection with that, I have...
And it will be equally imperfect.
Equally imperfect and equally done.
Right.
There you go. One of the chapters that will be featured in the book is going to be, would you like a little inside information right now? Would like me to lay a little something on you on the down low, a little 411 of the upcoming. One of the chapters in the book is going to be called, okay, get your pens ready. Now, if I see this on the interwebs, if I see this published on the interwebs, I will deny it and I will denounce you to the Inquisitor. But one of the chapters of the book will be called, I'd Like My Death to Count for Something. What? Yep. I'd like my death now. Now we're going to get all serious for a second. Well, not really. But we are going to talk about a serious subject in a very lighthearted and friendly way, if that makes sense. The episode is from the 3rd season of Star Trek The Next Generation. You know this one by Captain Jean-Luc Picard and First Officer Will Riker, the James T. Kirk of his age, socially speaking, that is, and Data, the android who wishes to be human and who wishes to be more human, and so on and so forth. There is an episode in the 3rd season called Yesterday's Enterprise, where our heroes aboard the Enterprise are, by a very strange confluence of astrophysical events, thrust into a situation where they meet almost a doppelganger from their own past, a previous iteration of the Enterprise, who have, by this same confluence of events, this other Enterprise has been thrust 22 years into the future to meet Captain Picard and crew. Among the members of Captain Picard's crew in this 22 years, this scenario, 22 years hence, is a woman named Tasha Yar. Tasha Yar is Captain Picard's tactical officer, chief of security, chief of battle tactics, you know, that sort of thing. And it develops during the course of this episode that Tasha Yar isn't actually supposed to be a member of Captain Picard's crew. Why? Now we're getting into the whole thing of temporal dynamics and time travel and that sort of thing, and I won't bore you yet with all the details. It turns out that in the reality that should have been taking place, Tasha Yar is supposed to be dead. However, she has an opportunity, which you'll read about in the chapter, to make her death, which apparently was senseless, meaningless, without purpose in the other timeline, she has an opportunity to do something meaningful before she dies. She has an opportunity to do something meaningful to help that older Enterprise accomplish a very important mission. In her conversation with Captain Picard, where she requests to transfer from the current ship over to that other ship to help them accomplish this mission, you're with me so far, right? I'm taking this slowly. Tasha says to Captain Picard, who obviously objects, no, you can't go there, we need you here. She says, right after Picard says to her, that ship's going to be destroyed. Don't you realize that? You're going to die. And she says, but Captain, at least with someone at tactical, the tactical station, battle strategy, battle tactics, and so forth, with someone at tactical, they will have a chance to defend themselves well. It may be a matter of seconds or minutes, but those could be the minutes that change history. Guinan, one of the characters, Tasha says, Guinan says I died a senseless death in the other timeline. I didn't like the sound of that, Captain. I've always known the risks that come with a Starfleet uniform. If I'm to die in one, I'd like my death to count for something. Now, Captain Picard then grants her request to transfer to the other ship, and the rest of what happens, you'll have to read about in the chapter. This episode was brought back to my memory by way of a book that I've started reading for my own edification and preparation for big stuff that's coming for me and for Paula and me, for us and for my company and business and so forth, things that are coming over the next. The book that I'm reading is called, it's written by Brian Moran and Mike Lennington. The book is called The 12-Week Year. You know, John, this might be an interesting possible candidate for a future book club. The 12-Week Year by Brian Moran and Mike Lennington. What they posit in the book is too many people hamstring their own potential by stretching out their goals too far. Saying, well, here's what I want to accomplish by this time next year. And so if 3 or 4 months down the road, I'm falling behind on my daily, weekly, monthly goals, nothing to worry about. I got plenty of time. Next year's coming way over there. And so I've removed from myself any sense of urgency, any sense of wanting to accomplish things in the most efficient way possible. Thomas Edison, quoted in his book, says, if we did the things that we are capable of, we would astonish ourselves. What does all this have to do with the Star Trek episode? I'm getting to that. The means by which Moran and Lennington propose that we essentially compress a year's worth of accomplishments into 3 months, 12 months worth of accomplishments compressed into 12 weeks, is to understand the enormous power and importance of every week, every day, every hour, every moment's action in aid of the accomplishment of our goals. So if I'm thinking in terms of 12 weeks instead of 12 months, then I understand that every single small action that I take today has the potential to change my future, to alter my future. This could be the second. These could be the seconds and minutes that change the history of my future. Remember what Tasha said to Captain Picard? At least with someone at tactical, they will have the chance to defend themselves well. That could be just a matter of seconds or minutes, but those could be the minutes that change history. Beginning to get the connection now. The realization that, no, the accomplishment of my goals does not depend on the fulfillment of a 12 or 36 month or 5-year timeline. The accomplishment of my goals depends on what I do today. What I do in this moment could be the moments, could be the actions that change the history of my future. And so, how do I get myself into a place where I'm actually taking action, executing on my 12-week goals in the most efficient way possible? How do I do that? Well, the first thing I've got to do, and I'm not gonna complicate this too much, I hope. First thing I need to do is create for myself powerful, enormously powerful, compelling vision of my own future. Vision of my own future. Where do I want to be? What type of man do I want to be? Personally, physically, spiritually, financially, relationship-wise, business-wise. What kind of life do I want to be living 12 months, 3 years, 10 years from now? And I must create a vision of that future that is powerful enough to motivate me to act in the now, to take actions in the now. I need to find something, create a vision, create a picture, create a movie of my life that is powerful enough for me to be willing to sacrifice my immediate comfort in order to take action and move forward in this moment. Martin Luther King said, unless a man has something for which he is willing to die, he is not fit to live. Now, listen, I am not advocating that we all go out and fight in wars or take up arms or anything like that, or march and protest. I'm not the purpose of this conversation. I do believe, however, that there are times coming in the state of my particular nation, America, in the state of the world in general, that are going to compel us to make choices concerning the kind of life we want to live. And I'm talking primarily in this point about personal and economic factors. Political considerations are an entirely different conversation. You understand what I'm saying? The way things seem to be setting up, for most of us, we're going to need a backup plan. You and I are going to need a plan B. You and I are going to need to be able to focus on and execute our own vision for our own life without being swayed about by outside influences. You with me so far? And the only way to do that, the only way to motivate ourselves to take action in the now, is to create that vision for ourselves. Tasha Yar had a very clear vision of what she wanted to accomplish in this particular conversation that she was having with Captain Picard. There was a mission in place. There was an upcoming mission that needed to be accomplished. And she was willing to have her death count toward the accomplishment of that vision. My question to all of us is not about death. The question is, are you willing to have your life today, the actions that you take with the moments that you've been given today, are you and I willing to have our moments count for something? Kind of makes a pretty strong argument against turning the TV back on, doesn't it? Listen, an eclectic approach, picking those programs that you really enjoy, that you're really interested in, sure, that makes sense. Again, what's your vision? What kind of woman do you envision yourself being years from now? X amount of time from now? What kind of lifestyle do you envision yourself living X amount of months and years from now? And are you willing to sacrifice your present comfort to take actions in this moment that will serve in aid of that vision? Tasha Yar was. How about you? Whew, that's good stuff. That's pretty good preaching. Thank you, John. Good to see you, brother. Got to real. So, what do you think? What's your idea? Listen, you don't have to tell me right now, but I think it would do all of us a world of good to sit down now during the somewhat slower summer months and grab a pen and a blank notebook and start charting out a vision for ourselves. What do you see? What do you got going the next few years? You know, that old I think it's Jerome Kern, Irving Berlin. The old Irving Berlin song, what are you doing New Year's Eve? What are you doing New Year's Eve 10 years from now? What are you doing? What do you got in mind? And what are you doing today to help yourself get there? Ooh, that's good stuff. Yes, indeedy do. So I am, I'll tell you what I'm doing. Today, I'm going to bullet point a couple of chapters in the next book. What do you think? Think not a bad thing, a pretty decent way to take a couple steps toward the accomplishment of the thing. So that's what I've got in mind. What have you got in mind? Listen, grab a notebook. I don't have to hear from you right now unless you really want to jump up and share a little something. Grab a notebook and a cup or a mug or a glass or stein of your favorite beverage. Relax, get yourself into a relaxed state, and start charting out some things. Do a little brainstorming. Do a little mind mapping, I guess is the term. Just jot down stuff that you'd like to see going on in your life years from now. No value judgments here. No, oh, that's a bad idea. Oh, forget that. Just write it down. There's a bunch of stuff. And then go back and look at the list. Which one of those things really lights you up? Pick 3 or 4 of those things that really, when you read it, oh yeah, that's what I want to be doing X years from now. That's how I want to be living. Now, how can you get there? And this is where we get into sort of reverse engineering our goals, right? Here's the big picture. At 10 years, okay, by 5 years from now, that picture will be here and here. And then next week, I'll have accomplished this. So what do I do today to accomplish this, which I also know will get me all the way out here? Ah, that's good. That's good. That's good stuff. So there's my thing today. Going to be bullet pointing a couple of chapters. And I'll make a deal with you. When we get together next Wednesday, how about I show you the bullet points? Or at least the pages, the fact that the bullet points have been written out. Deal? Sound like a deal? See, this way I get to hold myself accountable to you. And you get to hold me accountable to accomplishing what I said I was going to, the thing I said I was going to accomplish. And more importantly than that, I get to hold myself accountable to you. So there you go. So there's my plan. And in the meantime, one of the members of one of my networking groups is having a birthday. Today is her birthday. So we're going out this afternoon to meet up with her, and there'll be about a dozen of us getting together and just sort of celebrating her life. She's a wonderful lady and a very skilled professional financial planner, and very successful in her career and so forth. And so we're going to be celebrating Nancy today. Happy birthday, Nancy. We'll see you in a little while. I told Nancy, I said, I'm sort of you might have never guessed this was the sort of gig for me, the sort of job for me. I'm the social events coordinator for this networking group. I know I don't have that type of personality at all, but I'm doing my best. And anyway, so put together this little thing for her, and I said, just so you know, we're celebrating you, which among other things means your money ain't no good in the restaurant we're going to today. Just so you know, you can go ahead and leave your wallet at home. So we're gonna have ourselves a time, and I will definitely be spending more time this week thinking through the vision, the compelling vision, and adding to it, tweaking it a little bit. Gail, what's on your mind, ma'am?
Hi, you're talking about thinking of writing your second book. And I started a long, long time ago because my kids kept saying, Mum, everything that has happened to you, everything you've done, you should write down, if not for the world, at least for us. And I did start, and I found it so difficult. How do you do that? When I started, it's just like, here, this is the year, this is what happened, and it's very boring.
Almost like writing a book full of grocery lists or something. Yeah. Grocery shopping lists. Well, I have never thought about it. I've never given any thought to writing anything like an autobiography or a memoir or anything thing like that, I imagine there may be a different kind of thinking involved with that as compared to the sort of book that I wrote. I will share this with you. My editor, who also happens to be my writing coach, Suzanne Doyle Ingram, wonderful lady, she gave me a format for chapters of the book. Now, this had to do specifically with the Star Trek episode, TV episodes and films and so forth, in aid of organizing my thoughts around each one so as to write them out. Here's what she said. Take this format. For each episode, take an episode of the original series, whatever. What was the name of the episode? What season, what episode number, what year, the details, stuff like that. The title of the episode. And she says, now, take these 3 components and look at each episode from this standpoint. Number 1, what happened in the episode? Who said what to whom? Who did what? Who gave the order to fire phasers? Whatever it was, right? Who took this or that action? Number 1, what happened? Number 2, what did it mean? What does it mean in the context, both, and you can split that up. What does it mean? What did it mean in the context of that particular episode? And what did that sequence of actions and conversations, what do you speculate it could mean in real life for us, for you and me today? What could that mean? So, what happened? What does it mean? What did it mean? What does it mean? And number 3, turn it into news you can use. In other words, life tips, life lessons that you've learned, Glenn, from that episode. How does that apply to some aspect of business, some aspect of mindset, some aspect of personal relationships? And then lay those out. Say, here's what happened in the episode. Here's what it means. And here's how you might use it in your own life. And once I started following that format, I went from percolating these ideas for years to writing the book start to finish in 4 days.
Wow. Amazing.
It was, what's amazing is that I hadn't thought of this before. And that it took Suzanne, to whom I will be forever grateful, to point this out and, give me this strategy. How could you apply that in the context of, say, a memoir style book? Oh, gee, I don't know. Well, let's think. Maybe taking a section, maybe dividing the whole book, from the 30,000 foot view, possibly dividing the book into, let's say, the seasons of your life from birth until now, early childhood, or maybe career moves or family, whatever it might, however you want to, divide it up.
That's a good idea.
Regionalize it up. And then, within each of those seasons or phases of your life, notable events, memorable conversations, tragedies, triumphs. I agree with you, Gail, in that I'm not entirely sure how popular a laundry list of dinners over 30 years, dinner menus over 30 years is really good. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I think what could be enormously valuable to your readers, to your potential readers, is to be able to glean the life lessons based on your that grew out of your own experiences.
Mm-hmm.
See, so somewhere in there, there's everything that has happened for you, good and not so good over your life. There's a lesson in there for somebody somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
So
thank you very much.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you.
My pleasure. So Catherine, Cat and her cat have joined us. Good to see you, Catherine. Hey, how's the water going? Linda, same question. You know, we joined up in this little water and vitamins accountability group. We get a message. Everybody gets a text message somewhere around midday, Central Time, Eastern Time, or whatever. And hey, how's it going? Nothing fancy. Not pointing fingers at anybody. Hey, how's it going? How you doing with your water and vitamins today? And people say, oh, geez, thanks for the reminder. I need to get on that. I need to pull down a bunch of water. Which, by the way, where'd my jug go? I've got it upstairs. Yeah. Linda, hello.
Hey, Glen. Yeah, water could be better as always. No, this was really good. I really like what you said to Gail. Gail, I just want to speak to you in the sense from someone who's lost their parent. And my dad was a storyteller, and he led a very interesting life. He was also a teacher, so he had many, many stories to tell about students and whatnot. I wish we had recorded those back in the day, because I mean, my memory has faded about the stories. And even if you just maybe dictate some stuff for your grandchildren to remember you by, or your great-grandchildren to be introduced to you. Because my parents' great-grandchildren will never meet their great-grandparents. And it would be really nice for me to be able to tell stories that they told me. And I think there's actually a company that does that kind of thing. It can help you put those words into stories. I mean, I don't know.
I think that's a great idea. And I did see something advertised on television recently about, I think it was called Storybook. And you can give it as a gift to your family, and there's questions in there, and I thought I would look into that. So yeah.
Well, I think you have great gifts to give to your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren.
I've certainly had a great life, and done lots of things. And when I'm talking with people, it comes out naturally. But when I want to put it in writing, forget it.
You know what?
Well, that's why you need to record it when you're speaking to people in story.
It's interesting. Linda mentioned, very interesting that you mentioned this, Linda. In fact, Gail, the first thing that I did, and it was pointed out to me, Glen, when maybe you're struggling with writing or typing stuff out, but they said, when you really light up is when you start just talking about Trek stories. Yeah. Talking about episodes and talking it through, and you remember all the dialogue. How do you do that? And ha ha ha. But when you start talking, I realized that when I was talking and having a conversation with someone, that's when my deepest, most profound thoughts were flowing out. So maybe for you, it's a matter of mechanism, a method that you're using to record your thoughts and your memories. It might be the spoken word. Listen, I've got a book over here. I forget the name of the author. Book's called Whoever Tells the Best Story Wins. So life, one's life as a collection of stories. I like it, Linda. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. Oh, that's good stuff. See, this is why we do this here in the Mastermind, is to support each other and suggest great ideas and build each other up.
Thank you both.
Absolutely.
You're welcome.
Well, my friends, I think I shall give you 21 minutes of your life back. How about that?
Thank you.
Absolutely. Pleasure's mine. Listen, what a great, let me see. Now I've got to think about a title for this. I'll think of something. I'll come up with something interesting. Thank you all so much for taking the time. Gail and Linda, great comments and conversation. Daisy, Kat, Edward, faithful as always. Great to see you. And of course, the man, the myth, the Godzilla himself. Thanks for swinging by, John. Great to see you as always. And it's a kind of a light schedule. We've got hospitality suite, and we shall see you again in the general session tomorrow, same bat time, same.
Sorry, I have to go.
Bat channel. My friends, make it a fantastic day. John would say, you absolutely deserve it. Bye for now.